Vicey, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah.
Mate, I was just saying before when we first met, first off, thanks so much for coming on the podcast, I think I should say. And secondly, I feel like I know you because I watched listened to the documentary when I was driving down before. And when I was driving down, what's the name of the documentary?
Commando Refused to Die.
That's the one.
I had nothing to do with that title, by the way. Such so shit.
Actually, you two have got such similar stories.
I copied him, didn't I?
both handsome bastards.
But mate, honestly, that documentary was spot on. It was really, really good. And I mean, all credit to you for sort of what you've been through. And again, you know, it is similar to your... I mean, did you think it's similar?
Yeah, well, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, well, you hit in 2009, weren't you?
Yeah.
And then I was actually on that tour when Andy was blown up. Thing what got me was, I think you said as well, Andy, like when you're in heady court, so I was smashed up, like brain damage and not really functioning very well, but my leg was obviously smashed to pieces as well. When I saw, you know, just if you say it's just a blast injury, but if people come with just a leg missing, you know, they're up and away and out and through the doors really quickly, and I was just getting a bit frustrated and with mine, because I was trying to save the limb as Andy was, it was just 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then it's just not even one side to side. So it was a long old slog. So when I had the last surgery, which was this revolutionary new technique they were going to use, it was just a catastrophic fail. So it didn't take the decision completely out of my hands, but it made the decision a lot easier. So it was worse than it ever was before I had it chopped off. So I'm glad, but in hindsight, I wish I would have done it straight away. So I remember being in, when I first got to Heady, do like your first, give you a whole body check, say these are your injuries, this is the best possible scenario for this injury, this is the worst case scenario. When they said to me, the worst case scenario is you'll lose your leg, I thought, fuck off, no chance. I said, you know, nothing wrong with it. Then obviously that was the worst case scenario that happened, and it's through no fault of the doctors or anything. They did loads to me. I mean, they don't get enough credit. I mean, Doc Lambert was on, wasn't he? And the stuff they do is pioneering in all walks of life, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they did. I mean, your leg could have worked, couldn't it? In a sense, it was similar to the sense that, you know, you wanted to be able to get on with your life again.
Yeah, and you know, some people criticise it, saying, you know, because I walked into the hospital to have it.
Yeah, I've had the same. People have said to me, "Fucking hell, why didn't you keep it?" Because I was able to walk, but again, it's.
I could walk, but it's a caveat, isn't it? Because like I could walk, but the pain was fucking unreal. It was horrible.
What, each step?
Oh, it was horrendous. Even though just hang there, because my ligaments were smashed to pieces. My joint, because I used to just literally kick with my hip to swing my leg around, and then my foot would be slamming on the floor all the time. The joint was just smashed to pieces. So the only way to get around that was to medicate yourself. So it was like, I mean, I walked around like a fucking zombie anyway, and then being drugged up to the eyeballs, you know, because they have, you know, pretty powerful stuff. And I used to swig morphine all day.
Fucking morphine?
Yeah, to get the Oromorph stuff. I used to take it for headaches, they got that bad. Yeah, it was horrendous. So, and I made a big point of actually, when I actually had it cut off, that I wasn't going to take any pain medication again, because I got massively hooked on all the opiates and stuff like that. It was horrendous. So yeah, and I'm just glad it's all done. It's a long time ago now. It feels like a long time ago, because, you know, I've been doing some pretty cool stuff since then.
What year were you injured again?
11 I was injured, but I didn't have my leg off till 14.
I always remember because me and Vicey first met after we both been injured, and you always
at
said...
the Invictus Games?
It was a bit before that,
yeah. Hasler, yeah.
And what always struck me with Vicey, because when you meet Vicey as well, back in when I was in the Corps, he's I don't know where to describe this, but he's a bit of a character. As in, someone who doesn't know you, thankfully I can call you a good mate now, but I don't know whether you'd know this yourself, but he was quite intimidating, because he's had such a great career in the Corps, very well respected. He's fucking gobby, he takes the piss, very quick-witted, and then when you meet him, I was a bit nervous, do you know what I mean, meeting you? And because you've done so much in the Corps, and I always remember one of the first things you said, you were speaking about your injuries, and you said you'd done a line about rolling the dice, and you were like, well, because you've done 6 or 7 tours.
I actually said it to my so my OC Al Burrell, OC Lima Company. He's a top bloke, and actually before that, so we had our sergeant major was called was his name? Oh, Big Guns John Worthy. Scary motherfucker he was.
Big Guns.
He was a fucking beast.
The nickname Big Gun.
Right,
Yeah,
so
I want him to be scary.
just before the tour, we were down at the a Leap of Faith down the road in Plymouth, all getting the river and stuff. And John Worthy got the old company down there. He said, "Look, for once, I'm putting my family first. I'm not going to be going to Afghanistan this time. You're going to get a new sergeant major." And he literally shot me a piercing look, and I was like, well, "Okay." I was going anyway, but so when the OC dragged me in his office, and he said, "Are you okay about the tour?" I said, "Look," I said, "you can only roll a dice so many times before you roll a one," and I said, "I'll be very lucky to come out of this one unscathed." So that was said with a bit of dark humour as well, like, Rory, yeah, it doesn't really matter, but it was in the back of my head the whole time, especially because, when I first went to Afghanistan in 2001, so from there until 11, it's changed an awful lot, where they just can't handle us when it comes to firefights. So they chose to use IEDs all the time to great effect, and why would you not keep doing something that's working? So the IED threat was going through the roof. I mean, when Herrick 2009, we went out, that's when the IED threat first started getting quite large, and so that's when you were done, wasn't it, up in Sanguinary when you were there? Yeah. But I was doing another job. I was flying around the country sort of thing. So I was very lucky, whereas I wasn't doing ground holding. So if you set patterns on the same piece of land all the time, that's when the risk is going to go up again. But yeah, so even from 2009 to 11, so in a 2-year period, it went through the roof, the ID threat.
What was 2001 like? Straight when did you rock up in 2001 then?
I was on the ground in October 2001.
Fucking hell, so what?
So basically
6 weeks after
9/11. So I was actually in Cyprus. I remember it in 2001, and I was by a pool. I was at the bar, and I remember seeing this time difference.
Classic race.
Well, it was the middle of the afternoon. Come on. So obviously with the time difference, it was late in the afternoon, and I remember seeing the planes go into the Twin Towers, and I was like, "Fucking hell! It looks like a really good film. It looks really, really realistic." And the lads were like, "No, that's happening." I was like, "What the fuck?" So this was obviously September. Then we had an exercise out in Oman. We went out to do that. I think maybe November actually. November on the ground in Afghanistan. So we had to go. Went from Oman to Diego Garcia down the Indian Ocean, and then from there we flew to Pakistan, which we were the first group of blokes to set up what is now called the Special Forces Support Group. So we were the first sort of guys to do it in direct support with Special Forces.
Was this Afghan or Iraq?
Afghan.
Afghan.
Yeah, so in 2001.
Was there a feeling, Vicey, when you were there that we're going to be going into Afghan pretty soon?
I remember we were in the desert, and the CEO got everyone together, and he said the chances of us going to Afghanistan are more likely now than when we were going to go into Macedonia. And we were at the airport ready to go to Macedonia, but then we got turned down last minute. So he said the chances are, more chances going. But then it was only one company of us that went, so we were chosen as the company to go and support SF in the jobs they did. And for me, as I was like just 18, I think, so that was working with the rock stars of the soldiering world. We were very lucky in the fact we worked with G Squadron, Hereford, so that's where they used to send all the bootnecks, all the Marines used to go there, because it used to be predominantly paras, or the Army used to make up SAS, whereas the few bootnecks that did go over there, they'd stick them all in G Squadron, so we worked with them, and it was fucking awesome. And straight away from then I was like, that's what I want to do when I'm a big boy. But
when I'm a big boy.
when I'm a grown up, I want to be SF. And it's that I haven't got any regrets in my career. I just wish I would have applied to go SF a bit later on, because when I did, so I worked with them 2001 and 2002, did back-to-back tours there, doing different jobs. And then, so when I came back from the 2002 tour, I was like, right, I'm going to go SF. Been sort of immersed in this world. I said, that is what I want to do.
So you'd have been, what, 20, 21?
19, 20, right. In 2002. Yeah, 19 I've been, yeah. And then, so I put in for selection and went on the briefing course. It was all fine. I don't know how I managed it, but I didn't ask about face. So I was at Norton Manor Camp at 40 Commando, and I was doing my medical to go on to selection, and I failed the medical on colour blindness. And back then, you had to go... you had to be a diver to go SBS, which I want to go down in pool. So they said, no, you can't go with pool, but you can go with Hereford. But so the first time I went out with Hereford, that was all cool because my first experience. But then the second tour, I was with Paul, the SBS lads. They're all 90% of them Marines, and they're just like, that is where I want to be. And so I was quite gutted. I thought, no, I'm not going to go Hereford. So I thought I'll go back to it in a couple of years. But then the operational tempo just kicked up. So Iraq was 2003. Then I did Iraq again in 2004. And then I went to Lympstone to do my command training. And then I ended up down there as an instructor. And then, so the years just rolled on and rolled on and rolled on. And then by the time it was taking its toll on my body, to be honest with you. So I remember before I went on the last tour of Afghanistan, I said to myself, that was the last one because...
And can you say that, right, that's the last one? Or No,
but in my sort of career
I'm
plan...
done.
Yeah. So my career plan was, once I got to 30... I was going to go officer, so late entry officer, or you actually go from 28. Yeah, I was going to
know that.
Yeah, I did my pre-AIB and all that in when did 2010, I think I did it. Like an in-house one with a lad called Clint, who's been through the same process. So I was going to go officer because my body was fucked. It was, before it got smashed to pieces, it was like my knees were going. I mean, I was only, 27, 26. But, I've been hard on the gas for so long that the body was just starting to fail on me a little bit, so I needed a bit of maybe a bit of rest would have been okay. But whereas like in the Corps you get like 2-year draftings, 4-2, 4-5, Scotland, wherever you want to go. I was sort of like keeping my head in the books, thinking like, who's going on that tour then? Okay, right, so I need to be at that unit for that time. So I used to chase it around, sort of thing. Whereas because my branch is a platoon weapons instructor, so we were predominantly the main instructors down at Lympstone, down in the factory. And so my branch sponsor used to go, I've been at 4-2 about nearly 5 years by now. He's supposed to do 2-year rotations. And he said, right, Vicey, you've got to come back to Lympstone to be an instructor. And I was like, oh, do I really? I mean, come on. I said, you've got enough like fucking war dodgers down there. I said, just, carry on with it.
Dodgers.
And then, so he said, okay, he said, you can stay there, but you're the first one out, sort of thing. If any other PWs want to go down there. And I just got lucky. I just stayed. I got really lucky. I was at 40 for 5 years as well. So I did all right out of the sort of unit.
That's what I mean when I said to you before about people look at you and you're like, wow, because you were so experienced. I mean, you just happened to join, were you 16, 17?
Yeah, 16 when I joined, yeah.
So you've joined 16 and just through the way the world was, you have been in the thick of it for Afghan Iraq from day one.
Yeah, and that is just literally, it's down to the year you're born in. There's no, that's all, it's just luck. Because I remember I was going on my juniors, and so when I joined, to get to promote to corporal, it's a junior command course we call it, you'd have lads on there. It was usually around the 8-year mark you get promoted, sort of thing, if you're doing all right. But also I was promoted after 4.5, 5 years, my promotion course. And you get, there's some guys on there who are going, fucking hell, you sprog, what the fuck are you doing on this course? You've done fuck all, sort of thing. I was like, well, hold on, I've been in Norway, I've been on a ship, I've been on ops flipping 4 times. What the fuck have you done? Been sat in a storeroom for your whole life. I mean, we're all Marines, we all come under that that bracket, but there are soldiers.
There's still divisions within the people.
You get your soldiers and you get your people who are career soldiers, if you like, something with, and one of my good pals, I won't mention his name, but he openly says, he's like, I joined the Corps, I've done my commander training, I've done a little bit, that's me, I'm all right to see out the rest of my career doing as little as possible. Fair enough. As long as you are honest with yourself and your others about it. It's the people who big time it and make out they're more than not that really fuck me off, and there's so many of them around here. Honestly, it breaks me, especially in the age of social media.
Without blowing smoke up your ass too much, from lads I know anyway, I mean, I only done 6.5 years, done 1 Iraq, 1 Afghan. But know quite a few lads. I don't know anyone. I don't think who's done more than you. So
some of the older guys have,
maybe
the Northern Islands and Bosnias and something.
Yeah.
So the lads used to be watch on stop on Northern Ireland. It used to be like, over there for 6 months, a year off, and it used to be flat out over there. But
yeah, no, I mean, but you are one of these people. When I always say this on the podcast, the idea was to get interesting people on. As far as the Marines go, mate, you're one of the blokes who just got fucking crazy stories, mate, that you could talk about what it's like to be a Marine, do you know what I mean? Joined at 16, done every tour you could have done, sniper, Norway, worked on ship, been all around the world. As far as the military career goes, mate, you've ticked probably.
Yeah,
every box.
There's one lad actually I remember called Dave Flett. I think he actually went ML in the end, mountain leader. So we left at the same time, and he caught up the very back end of Sierra Leone. Then he went straight to Kosovo. Then he did Iraq, Afghan, and all that. So he actually just luck of the draw, did everything. But yeah, I just got lucky, and I sort of took my career in my own hands as well. Where I was like, right, okay, so I planned it out. So I knew loosely knew where the units were going to go. I mean, back then we used to have like lead commander units. So one of the units would be lead commando. So they'd be the first into any sort of quick deployment. So I used to make sure I was always in that. And then
when you say quick deployment, what? So
you're on like, I don't know what notice to move it is, something daft, like a day's notice to move or something like that. I mean, the only big shout we got was when the Queen Mother died. We had to get all back to camp in like 2 hours sort of thing to go and then head up to London for a massive core-sized piss up. It was fucking wicked. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't get it. Why when
we had to do all the ceremonial stuff, so they got the whole so 40, 42 and 45, all three commander units all descended onto what's the barracks called now? Near Bisley Rangers, what's the one called?
Fuck knows.
Whatever it's called, I can't remember what it's called now. But yeah, we all rocked up to this camp, and then so the two towns of Guildford and Woking next to it, they were not ready for three commander units. It was fucking carnage.
I bet it was.
Yeah, it's quality.
And just going back on what you said a second there, you said I've just been lucky. I mean, we'll talk about what happened to you a little bit later on, but looking back now, do you still think yourself as lucky? The career you had and everything?
Oh, massively, yeah, really lucky. I mean, there are people who joined at the same time as me and didn't have any sniff of the same operational experience that I had, purely because they were in the wrong unit or the wrong trade, so it's just luck. And I think everybody who joins the Corps, I wouldn't say everybody, most people who join the Corps, they join to do the job, and I was very lucky that I was able to do it for such a long time with such great blokes as well.
Your wife said on that interview that I watched that before any tour you were really excited. I think, and don't quote me, I don't think those are exact words, but that you were like proper eager, willing to...
Yeah, I think she said it's the only time I'm ever happy. I was on my back to deploy. I got resting bitch face, so that's what I think she said. No, I just loved it. I mean, I played sports when I was a kid all the time, and and it's like always training for a football match and never playing one.
Yeah,
if you're just always doing the exercises, always doing deployments and whatever. When you go on ops, that's what you train for. That's what you want to do. And to be honest with you, why I enjoyed it so much was because without being big-headed, I'd always been all right at most stuff. Footballer or at school, I was all right. I was never head and shoulders above anyone or below anyone. But I was above average at soldiering. So being quite modest, I mean, I was good at what I was doing. I could get by, and I really sunk my teeth into it. And then because I'd worked in such small teams for the first couple of tours and doing the sniper course, so it's again working in small teams, I just relished the soldiering environment. Just at an infantry sort of basic soldiering level, I just wanted to make sure my individual skills and drills were the best they could possibly be. And then when it came to being a corporal, I was very lucky that I had excellent section commanders above me when I was a Marine. So I could, glean all the experience off them and then put my own leadership spin on it, which is what I did.
And so at that time, Corporal, are you managing a team on the ground, or is that you're responsible for X number of men? Yeah,
so it varies. So you get a section level, so there's a section commander, so that's 8 guys, including yourself. But then the last tour we did, he went into multiples. So that would be anything from 10 to 12 blokes, and so you get a multiple commander and a multiple 2IC. Now your multiple commander is usually a sergeant or an officer, and then in multiple 2IC is the corporal. So I ended up doing both roles anyway. I was multiple commander out in Afghanistan because obviously sergeants are away on R&R, or they are back in the FOB doing paperwork or fingering the interpreter, whatever they want to do. So I was very lucky. I mean, looking back, I got asked the other day what I got my MC for, and I actually haven't. I remember having.
I actually don't know this story.
No, mate, I don't either. So when I got asked into 4-2 Commando, so I was at Hazard Company, which is down the road here in Devonport Docks, which is the main Southwest Recovery Centre. So I was down there, and I got a call from my sergeant major, Jim Morris, down at Hazard, said, right, you've got to go and see the CO tomorrow at 4-2. I was thinking, fuck, in the shit already. I said, I've been blown up. What the fuck do you want me now? And he goes, well, you've got to be in rig, in uniform. And I said, I don't even own any. I've literally got nothing. And so I rocked up to the CO's office and was in with the RSM there.
What's this? How many months after being blown up? Like so 6 months or something?
Yeah, it must have been something like that. Yeah, not long. I remember I went in the office, the RSM's office, and there's a lad in there called Patch Adams, a mate of mine, and he's always been in the shit as well. So we're like, I charged him. And I was like, what have you done, Patch? He goes, I don't know. I got in the shit last weekend, but I don't know if they found out something. He said, what have you done? I said, I don't know. And I'm thinking, oh, fuck's sake, here we go, going to get charged again. And so I went into the office, and my OC was stood there, Al Burrell, and he read out, I can't remember what he fucking said now. I mean, I was still like pretty high, and brain damage was still taking quite a grip on me by then. And he read out my citation, and I was like, fucking hell, I burst into tears. And the first thing I said to him was, this isn't a sympathy medal, is it? Because if it is, you can ram it. I said, I don't want anything to do with that. And the OC got actually quite emotional as well. He's like, so funny enough, we was cleaning up the stables, what I was saying. We were cleaning up the stables the other day. Tessa found this envelope, and it's about an inch thick, this envelope, full of all the letters I had from like CO of 4-2, the Commandant General, Prince Philip, bloody all these naval commanders, army brigadiers, all sending when they had the investiture came out for Buckingham Palace. I was like, fucking hell. But as it goes for citation, I still haven't seen it. So I actually texted Al Burrell the other day, but he lives out in Canada now. And I said, have you got a copy of it? I know loosely what it's about. Yeah, well, I was there, obviously. But
yeah, so was it this on your tour? You got your military cross for the tour you got blown up?
Yeah. So it loosely goes... So it was for 2 days. It was 2 significant acts, they call it, I think it's called. So the first day was when we were given a job to do, I think it was an SF task actually, but they couldn't do it for whatever. We had a really good intelligence package about the target. We were going to hit an ID factory. And we actually had live footage of the enemy going out and arming their IEDs during the night and then disarming them in the day, so the kids could play and all that. So, but we knew exactly where they were.
They used to do that at Inkerman as well,
Yeah.
They'd set them off, and then if at 7 o'clock in the morning we'd not been on patrol that day, they'd come and just disarm them all.
Yeah, they do.
That's fucking mad.
So we had this great intelligence package, and I was leading. There were 2 buildings. I was leading my guys into one, and the other stick was we'd landed in 2 helicopters. The other helicopter was going into the other building. Then we meant to like meet in the middle, if you like, and so. We were waiting for what we call H hour, so when you're about to blow in. So we had our engineers with us, support to basically blow great big holes in the side of the compound so we can get in and go and sort the bad guys out. And so we sat there in the field and just heard this massive bang. I thought, fucking hell, they've gone early. Then you hear the worst thing ever on the net. It was a contact IED. You think, fuck. But we've lost the element of surprise then. So I said, right lads, go. We're going. So I knew where the IDs were because I'd studied the plan, and knew where we were going to go. So we go in, blew in the door, and we literally caught them napping as well. So we have a order of march, they call it. So you're going in first. You're a first assault pair. That's not. I didn't lose the plot, but I wanted to not lose the momentum of going into the building. So I literally just grabbed the closest couple of blokes. Ben Williams was one of them. I said, right, follow me. You two, you're pair 2, and I just went through the whole. And literally chasing them because we're going to clearing the rooms properly, firing on the move. We got about 4 of them through going through the buildings, and then they all legged it out the back end.
You're literally just chasing the Taliban through the house, almost.
Yeah, just literally chasing them, like flipping, pinging rounds into their flipping feet, like. And then, so yeah, they got away with most of them, but then so I got the lads straight up on the rooftops. I even called in a couple of lads from the other call sign, said, look, come up here. So I set up a gun line on the roof, and then we were just scanning to make sure if we could see. And then one of the lads, I think it was Ben, actually seen them. He said, look, there they are. So I was like, I've actually got a cool video of it, where then we just suppressed them and killed another couple. And then
did you when you say video, you're allowed like a GoPro or something like that?
No, so there was a big hoo-ha obviously through other things that have happened out in the theatre that they're not allowed, but mine I wasn't asked to do it. I asked. I said, look, purely for after action review, so to see what we did wrong, what we did right, will we do it again? So that's purely why I had it. So that was, I think it was like not losing momentum. In a nutshell, not losing momentum about taking initiative, leading by example, as I always would do and expect anyone who was in a position of command to do. So that was the first day, and then we ended scrapping the rest of the night, and then we flew back home. We flew back again the next day. I might have got the days mixed up, but yeah, the next day we had a just basically this area that was known for all the bad guys to kick about in. So we landed on and just patrolled around looking to stir up a bit of a scrap. And so it was very quiet, unusually quiet as well. So we had a bit of a scrap by a wall, which is, this is backwards. So this was actually the first day I remember now, because it was the first time my lads had been in contact. And I remember I was on the wall just firing, and I looked across and they were like looking up at me, and I just remember I was Gav Bolger, who actually got blown up at me. I fucking gave him a good boot. I said, "Get up and start scrapping, you fucking bender! Come on, let's go!" And then so I was ragging, and then everyone started getting involved. And I think it just takes that sort of somebody just to take the scruff of the neck and just go, right, we're going to do this. So we started scrapping by this wall, and then Damo was having stoppages on his machine gun, and Ben Williams was having stoppages as well. So I was like, and I'm a dab hand with a rocket launcher. So I was like, right. So while this is all going on, I've got the rocket launcher out, boom, slam that down range, hit the target. And then that was like, okay, so they've had their first scrap, so the lads are blooded then, sort of thing. And then we're getting picked up by the helicopters. And I was counting the lads onto the helicopter, and then we got hit from three sides, a massive ambush. And so I was counting the lads on, and just seeing this little fucker out in the grass. You hardly ever see him. There he is. So I just fucking, chased him down. Again, totally forgetting about the helicopter. It's like you can tell by the rotor blades, he's going to start taking off. Like, shit! So I turned around. had to run.
Your taxi going, oh, you
yeah, it's just. So it meant like, even though I remember everything that happened on that tour, it just, for some, I don't know, maybe every time, or it just, everything's is getting hazier as well. I could have told you 3 years ago exactly what happened on this day and that, but just everything's just getting hazy. Maybe I'm just old as fuck now as well.
I can vouch for that. I mean, we had our 10-year reunion back up at 4-5 Commando last weekend. Fucking lads are telling me stories, and I'm like, I can't even fucking remember that. And they're like, mate, can you not remember you were on that compound and you were putting rounds down there, and then this happened? And I'm there thinking, I can't fucking remember that.
I know, yeah, I think it's just old age, mate, I think.
Is that not just the adrenaline at the time? It feels like 30 seconds, but it was like 2 hours or something like that.
Maybe, and I guess it's people's perspective. I mean, what's maybe a big firefight for you is maybe not as significant for you, or maybe more for me. And I don't know, a mix, but I genuinely do, this last weekend, sitting around talking, thinking, fucking hell, was I definitely there for that? And then I'm telling them stories and they can't remember. And
yeah, I mean, I can't even remember the first Iraq, really. I don't really know what. I know I was there, but I had a good scrap on Mother's Day. That was a good tear up. Yeah, that was good. But yeah, I think it's just time, isn't it? And it's because your life gets so full of other stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, the military was the best and biggest part so far of my life as a chapter, if you like, but that's over now. I'm going on to do other things, and I still look back on it very fondly.
That's one of the things, actually, from being around sort of you, Andy, for a bit, and then Ian last week. One of the things that I sort of a bit jealous of is that sort of camaraderie, like sort of clan, that group of people that you can trust with their own life, and you can then go and see them 10, 12 years later. And they'll,
and you pick up like that, exactly where you left
exactly
off.
the same, yeah.
I'm saying,
fucking rare.
If you could bottle it, you'd be a very rich person, because that's very. I think it's not quite specific in just the Corps, but if in the Marines, for example, I bumped into a lad just before Christmas I haven't seen for about 5 years. Literally picked up exactly where we started off, because serve him and stuff like that. But you get that's a real tight bond in the Corps. But then you get the injured community as well, and I think it just steps up one more notch as well. Whereas before, it wasn't for our fault, but no one used to like Marines because intimidated or whatever. When you come into the injured community as well, like I've got mates who are paras, engineers, all sorts, even a couple of RAF, which is like, a bit dodgy, but I think it's that extraordinary experience
there's not a lot of people who have been blown up, is it, together, and that Headley Court, things like the Invictus Games and various, that did cement that bond, didn't it, even more?
Yeah, definitely.
And especially me and Vicey, we met after being injured, and fuck me, I might see him a handful of times a year, But fucking hell, I rang it up the other week. I'd not spoke to him for about 6 months. I rang him up, was on the phone for him for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have any other
Dripping
friendships.
again.
Yeah. Just moaning. But I mean, and same, like if I've anything got going on up north or he's down south, we catch up, and it's again, I think it's strong in the military, but like you said, I've never heard anyone say it like that. It does ramp up a notch though, doesn't it, once you've been injured?
Because you'll never ever, certainly I've never worked, you'll never get that in a workplace ever.
I can't say I've never worked.
Ever.
So I think, especially the workplace I'm in now, I mean, Pete and Kieran, the bootnecks, so it's very easy. I mean, we've got to really fucking play it cool now, because when we started, there's just 3 of us in the office, you know, effing and blinding and all that. Now we've got like real people working there. Yeah. So we've got like, we can't just call each other cunts all the time. yeah. Like I'm thinking, like I think I called Kieran a bender the other day, and I said, but there's nothing, if you are gay, nothing wrong, girls. And I said, I'm sorry to assume your gender. You know, it's all shit like that.
It's like a thing off the office, isn't he?
Mate, it's like a fucking political minefield.
Yeah.
But we're getting glass walls in front, so they can't hear what goes on in there.
Yeah, it must be hard for you, man. Like, because again, like, mate, you want to be best mates, but you are like a bit of a hero in the core, mate. Like some of the stories you've told, mate, I found myself telling stories, and I'll go, oh, this is a second-hand dit, and I'll spin one of your dits. You know what I mean? It's like what you've done, and I think for you then to step away and work in a civvy job again, I think that must be hard. Like.
It didn't work, because I say, like, the business I'm involved with now is they're sort of finding people gainful employment and, you know, career pathways and stuff like that. Because what I think, especially in the core, because me and you are the same, you know, I joined at 16, you were 17. So when you join as a child, basically, and then it's drummed into you from day one that you are part of the baddest motherfucking group on the planet, you know, and you're the be-all and end-all of soldiering. You then live and breathe that lifestyle for years and years, or however many years you serve. I mean, I wanted to stay in forever, but obviously my career was cut short. But it's then you lose your identity. That's the biggest thing. You lose, where do I fit now? You know, and you take all your experience from, you know, leadership or command or planning and stuff like that, and you think, I could smash into a civvy job. But it's just not like that. The world is not like that. And then you think, so what the fuck am I supposed to do? And I was so lost for so long as well. My default setting is to just turn to booze, and I'm fucking so bad for it. But it was because I lost my identity. And the first sort of job, if you like, I had, I mean, I've been a professional networker for about 7 years now, because all I've been doing is going to dues and, you know, stuff like that, charity dinners, and just meeting people, telling my story. I did a bit of the public speaking and stuff like Andy does, but I've sort of gone away from that now, because, I mean, for me, when I was doing that, I had to keep doing cool stuff to make it relevant. And I was sort of just thinking, well, fucking hell, I felt like I was selling my soul a little bit, because I felt like a fraud, thinking, why am I telling people to be motivated and inspire people when I'm struggling in my own skin? So I sort of stepped away from that a little bit. But yeah, when I had my first job, I remember I was at a Royal Marines charity dinner, and I got chatting with Tony Rowe, who's the owner of Exeter Chiefs. And he said, what are you doing? I said, nothing, don't really care. I had a pension, I was financially secure, so I didn't really bother myself. And so he said he had an idea that I'd be interested in this job. So I went down to the Chiefs ground, and they have a program there called the HITS program, which is 16 to 19-year-olds from broken homes or drug abuse or domestic abuse or sexual abuse or whatever. Just kids, not all of them, but some of them just looking for qualifications as well. But a lot of them are kids from broken homes and bad situations. And so they do their English and Maths GCSE again. They get a sports and active leisure BTEC qual as well. And I was the life skills coach there. So I was telling people how to conduct themselves properly. And it just sort of like, it resonated a bit with me, because I was an instructor in the corps as well, so I just sort of lended myself quite well to it. And whereas like some were quite unruly as well, so then you get like these young'uns like playing up, and I just go, sit the fuck down and pin your ears back, Lofty. You can't talk to me like that. I said, I'm not a teacher, I can do what the fuck I want. And it's sort of like, oh, okay, shit, we can't get around this guy. So, and that worked really, but most of them were right, don't get me wrong. And I learned a lot from it. You know, to sort of be very humble about things I have got, because I was still sort of mourning the shit I hadn't got.
What about like instructors? Some instructors or former instructors set up businesses where, you know, like I don't know, like survival courses, you know, that corporate companies then pay for that sort of thing.
So I used to do that. So I actually had Andy down. So, you got me the gig, but it was done under my business, wasn't it, for the School of Hard Knocks?
So I'm a patron for School of Hard Knocks, and it uses, a bit like Vicey was saying then, uses rugby as a tool to kind of engage you. Again, people like Vicey was saying. Now, I will openly admit, anyone who's listening, anyone who's heard me will know, any friends will know, I'm a bit of a one-trick pony. I'll tell a good story, got blown up, and I've done loads of cool shit since. So I'll talk about resilience, motivation, adaptability, and all that. If someone asks me to lead, I fucking never led a team in my life. Do you know what I mean? I lead myself to the pub, that's about it. So anytime someone says to me, can you run one of these leadership packages? I've just rang up Vicey and I said, mate, they want me to do this. Do you want to lead it? I'll help you with it. And I just threw the baton to you then, really, didn't I?
Yeah, it went really well as well. So, you know,
on Sky Sports, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a set package of what I do and stuff, what I did do. And actually used my links because I'd left Chiefs then. I think was I still working there? I can't remember.
No, we still went there, didn't we?
Because we went there to train with some of the first team to give the lads a bit. It was a real good couple of days, wasn't it? I mean, I a lot of people do that, you know, going to like the wilderness sort of stuff, and or a lot of this. But the one thing that again, let's have a little drip. One thing that gripes me, right? So one thing that grips me is like some people who say they are a leadership coach. Now, I can tell you now, there is no fucking qualification in the world that gives you a leadership qualification. There is not, unless it's written on fucking fag paper, which is useless. Now, so many people say they're a leadership expert, which is fine, don't get me wrong if you want to do that, but at least have something to back it up with, you know? I mean, there are a few people, we won't mention any names, you know exactly who I'm talking about though. Yeah. There are just some people who just blow their own trumpet an awful lot, and like, if you've got no, I mean, I'm a big timer, okay, but it's not big timer if you can back it up, as far as I'm concerned.
No, that's one thing, mate. Like, again, I don't, anytime I've been asked to do motivation stuff, I've done it, and as soon as they say, oh, Andy, can you do a bit more on leadership next time? I go, fucking no. Where I know what you mean, there's some people who go, oh yeah, I can, and I've never done it before, and that's why I've grabbed you in, because of your experience.
It works the same way. A couple of times I've been offered to do inspirational talks or thing, and I'm like, I'm not in a place to do that sort of stuff. So I throw it down and go, Andy, can you do this?
Would you do it now?
Maybe, if the price was right.
The thing we probably should, because what we're talking about now is all things that have happened after injury. So one more thing I will talk on, and I'm sure we'll come back to it before we talk about your injury, is this world, mate, that we've been thrust into, where you're making these decisions and maybe doing motivational speaking or team leadership. Again, I always remember this moment with you, and again, we'll touch on this again afterwards, but after the Invictus Games, and we were standing on stage, there was like 15,000 people in the audience. We just came on stage after that band who'd played. I don't know who it was.
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters had just been playing.
Such a novelty.
We're on stage.
26,000.
26,000.
Yeah.
You know, we'd been on the pitch with Prince Harry the day before. We'd all won gold medals and felt like rock stars. And you just summed it up. You were like, mate, we're just a bunch of fucking idiots. Like, what are we doing here? And it was so true, because I think why a few of us have had issues, and various lads and stuff, is that you were just a normal kind of soldier, a normal Marine, and then suddenly within a space of 18 months or so, whatever, you're fucking on stage after the Foo Fighters, 20,000 people asking for selfies with you.
Yeah.
And again, we're just thinking, we're just fucking bunch of fucking idiots.
And I've got to admit as well, from that, so I was quite lucky. It was me, you, JJ, a couple of other people, and Dave Henson were like sort of the poster children for the first Invictus Games. And I'm openly honest, I got sort of caught up in my own bullshit. I thought I was better than I was. I've never been famous or fucking anything like that, you know. So the attention, it went to my head. It did, and I started being a fucking dick. Yeah, and I started being a fucking dick about it.
When you say dick, do you mean how do you mean?
I was just being horrible to people, I suppose, because it was only for a small period of time, but I just thought, oh yeah, I'm cool. I'm like, yeah, people know me, and this has never happened before. I didn't know how to react to it. I've been a soldier all my life. And then so first person who fucking gave me a reality check was the missus. She's like, look, you need to start sorting your fucking shit out. You're acting like a dick all the time. You think you're out boozing, because you're mixing with like these wealthy people and stuff. You're not wealthy. Don't think you can go out fucking, you know, behaving the way they do and things like these, all single, but you've got a family at home. And I was like, yes, boss, you're right. But it did take me a while to sort of, I didn't realise it until you actually take a step back and go, yeah, what a prick.
Yeah.
Because but again though, you've been to the Invictus Games, you've got a story to tell now, you've overcome massive adversity, businesses are then saying, Paul, can you come and speak at an after dinner speech? So you're going to London, I don't know, for the day, for the night. You're getting wined and dined, you're saying a few words after it, people are fucking asking for selfies, and I almost think it's like the kind of Justin Bieber thing, but not as financially lucrative. You know, you're not a fucking millionaire, but you're almost getting that Justin Bieber, how it changed your life. You're not a kid anymore, you're a pop star. You're not Vicey the soldier. You're fucking hell, Mike, you're a hero.
That fucks me off, that as well. I'm not a fucking hero. Nobody's well, there are heroes around, don't get me wrong. But people who say, just because you're injured, you're a hero, is bullshit. Most of us didn't look where we were fucking going, let's be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but for you though, I'd say you're a hero for your MC. I wouldn't say you're a hero for losing your leg. No,
but people do tie you that brush, don't they? Say, like injured heroes. It's bollocks, honestly. And it fucking winds me up.
I remember a guy, I won't mention his name, and
there's a lot of I won't mention names.
But I never,
let's just start shit canning everyone. Come on, let's start mentioning names.
I never actually worked with this guy, but I remember in Headley Court, and this guy had an injury, he'd lost both his legs, and he goes,
and now they're down. I'll get him.
I know, yeah. And someone said he started being a dick or something, and someone said, "Listen, mate, you're a fucking dick when you had two legs, and you're a fucking dick with none."
I know exactly what you're on about. Yeah, is it Gaddy that said that? Is it Craig Gadd that said it to him? Yeah, I think it was.
But it was just that thing that, you know, automatically, just because you've lost an arm or leg or whatever, I don't know, you're not necessarily a hero. If you could have been a dick beforehand, and you'd still probably be a dick now.
Yeah, that's it, mate. You know, you're getting blown up. I mean, I think Cass Little said once that I was, like you've touched on, that I was arrogant, intimidating when I was in 4-2 Commando, but he said when I got blown up, something happened to me and I became a lovely human being.
Yeah, he said that.
I thought, fuck you, Cass. You know what I mean? I didn't know Cass before. That's why I knew he was an MA in the unit. He was a medic in the unit, but he was J Company's medic, so I never had anything to do with him. I think that maybe can be the perception people had of me, that I was arrogant or whatever. But I wouldn't say I was arrogant. I was confident in my own abilities.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I just think as a young lad looking up to you, I thought, fucking hell, he's done everything in the Corps. You know, if he tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. It was just that kind of respect thing, which I think I like that in personalities. I like people who are a bit cocky, a bit maybe outspoken, and know what and can back shit up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think it's a negative thing.
Yeah, but I was about you know, when you're young lads that come across, still looking back to that. So you'd have been in training. That's when I was an instructor, weren't you?
Yeah. So to break the story up.
Do you remember it? Do you remember?
No, I never. He wasn't like my corporal.
There's like 16 recruit troops in Lympstone at any one time, right, so you can be.
So this story, as I rang Vicey before, said, you know, I'm on my way down. He said, I've just listened to your podcast with Ian Sam, and he said, I think that was me on the training team. So go on, share that stuff.
So like the recruits, they've been fucking around or something like that, and so we call it kit mounting. So every single piece of equipment and kit they owned, they just threw it over the balcony. We created this. It must have been 6-7 foot high, this kit mountain, just down there kicking the shit out of it, you know, just messing it all up there and giving them room changes to like repack their stuff. And it's only when Ian said, I remember this thing, and it was the same year, so it must have been. I know a lot of people did it, but I got bollocked for that.
Did you enjoy your time being an instructor down at
I really did because I've said this before when I used to do my talks and stuff, that if you apply yourself properly and you do it to the best of your ability, being an instructor is not quite as hard, but it is nearly there with being on ops, because you've got to prepare all your lessons, you've got to deliver your lessons, you've got to then reteach your lessons to the retards, you've got to reteach again to the retards mates, and then you've got to write reports on everybody as well. And so all this is going on, like it's flat out, and then you're doing extra hours on the evening if they're struggling with stuff like reteaching again. And so it is really hard work. Again, like I'm at the corner, I don't really give a fuck what anyone says, but you do get the people down there. So back when I was in training, nearly every single instructor was a PW, so they were like the soldiering specialists, if you like, back then. But now you had to do just a skill at arms course, so a basic instructor's course. It's like 6-7 weeks, I can't remember what it was. So then you could, not knocking any other SQs, because there are any other branches, because there are good lads in each of them, but you did get the odd fucking signaller, for example, someone who operates a radio and then pretending he was some sort of like John Rambo guy who's like down on the training team, and you're just like, mate, you've got fuck all to back up. You do, man, it fucking breaks me. But luckily enough, every training team I was on, there was all full of soldiers, and there's such a good feeling inside you when you take sort of like me, a 16-year-old scrote from Bristol Council Estate, then seeing them go through the transition into a lad you'd proudly have alongside you in a commando unit, which actually happened to me. So on the Herrick 9 deployment, I actually had lads I took through training in my troop, in my company, not actually in my troop.
That's the big thing. I always remember that getting drilled into me and training them, saying to me, listen, I'm not going to pass you out as a Marine and send you up to a unit and then have my mates in that unit ring me up and say, why the fuck have you passed out this lad? You know, I'm not prepared to work with him, why have you let him pass out? So there was very much a responsibility of, I'm not going to let you pass out as a Marine until fucking I would happily be alongside you in operations.
And that's just been, I mean, for me, as one of my bootnet qualities was being diligent, you know, and making sure that the people I instructed and put through the gates to the other end were of the highest quality that we could do. And so, like I say, it would mortify me if one of my mates from my commander unit like phoned me up and said, who is this shit house you've just sent up here? You know, it wouldn't happen because I wouldn't allow it.
What specific, like, so Tom Wickstead rocks up, right? What?
Get the gym. The gym would be the first place you fucking go.
Fucking haircut.
What as an instructor, what is, I suppose it's a difficult question to answer, but like as an overarching sort of, what do you really look for in that person? Is it just the not giving up?
It's the ability to learn, I think, is the biggest one. Because the PTIs will do their bit, the physical training instructors will get you fit enough. They have a structured program which has worked for decades. That's taken care of, providing you stay on that learning curve. But it's the ability to digest information and regurgitate it, because when you're learning rifle lesson drills or learning basic field tactics or cliff assaults or whatever you're doing, you get shown this. You then have to imitate it. So you use a thing called EDIP, explanation, demonstration, imitation, and practice. So that's sort of an instructor acronym, if you like. So if you can't keep on that learning curve and not produce the goods, then you're just going to fall by the wayside and end up getting back troops and stuff like that. And so you have to retake tests and retake exercises and things like that. So as long as their ability to learn is good, because that's why in the Marines you do your written tests, where it's like they take illiterate people in the army and things like that, and that's actually no joke, they actually do. Whereas you have to have a certain level of I think it's A to C in GCSEs, I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah, mate, I was at a dinner a few years ago now when I spoke to an officer. I don't know if this is still the case, but I think it's 5 GCSEs, A to C. I think you may need in the Corps, I don't know, but I think he said about 65% of Marines actually had the ability.
A qualified for officer.
Yeah,
I heard that. Yeah.
So
I think it's just A to C in English and maths. I think because that's you used to have a
English and
back in the day.
About 65-70% were actually qualified to be officers.
Yeah, so you've got a bit about you.
Yeah, so you are quite a switched
and also
bunch.
like 16 years old. Fuck me, if I remember when I was 16, like rocking up like.
Well, mate, if obviously I grew up in Bristol, so that's where I'm from originally, and say about the age of 13 or so, started smoking weed and other stuff, get onto class A's and all that. When it come to the age when I was like 15 leaving school, I was debt collecting for a drug dealer, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
I was 15?
Yeah, and I was just, I used to fight a lot when I was younger and stuff like that, so...
did you have any, was the Corps in the back of your mind at 15?
No, nothing until I... saw this one person who I was doing a bit of work for, and we were meant to collect some cash off these fucking ropey skagheads on this bench in Bristol. There's fucking loads of them, right? And anyway, so I
love how a fucking 15 whatever year illustrious career in the Marines started off. We were going to go and get some money from these ropey skagheads on a bench in Bristol.
Yeah, and so I was like, fucking hell, there's loads of them. So I didn't fancy this. So my mate was with me, phoned up this lad. He was like, right, this ain't happening. He said, there's fucking loads. He goes, what the fuck do I pay you for, you fucking wankers and all this? And he rocked up, got out the car with knuckleless leather like driving gloves on. Just did some fucking gnarly ninja moves. I was like, what the fuck is this? And anyway, got in the car, called us wankers and fucked off. I goes, who the fuck's that? And he goes, he used to be a bootneck. I said, what? He's a Marine for like 15 years. I was like, was he? I said, I want to be like that. So, and plus it was like, I went into the careers office. It was like, at that stage in my life, it was either do something productive or change my ways or go to prison. It was happening. So I remember I went into the careers office, and I went into, there's a big high-rise building in Bristol. It was down, I don't know if it is now. So I went onto the Navy floor, if you like, and I went and speak to this Navy guy, and that's it. And I said, I want to join the Paras. Where have I got to go, mate? And he goes, I don't know, mate. Go down, speak to that Marine down there. He'll know. He said, I only just got here. I don't know where everything is. And I remember the guy, it was George something. I can't remember his name, but I saw him in the Corps later on in the few years later. I said, mate, why don't I join the Paras? He goes, you don't want to do that. Sit down here, put this video on for me, people jumping out of helicopters on boats. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll have some of that. Anyway, so I did the pull-ups in the careers office, did the written test, bang, it was only about three weeks later, bang, I was down in Limpston doing my PRMC, Potential Royal Marines course. And about 5-6 years later, I caught up with him. I went, you fucking lying bastard. He went, what, you were in the careers office in Bristol, you fed me all this bullshit. And he's like, oh, fucking hell, sorry, mate.
I want to know who's employing a 15-year-old as a fucking...
Well, we didn't pay tax, that's for sure. But yeah, I think because I was able to make a decision, quite a big decision then to get out of where I was going, not many 15-year-old kids would have been able to do that. So I'm quite proud of that. That's probably the biggest decision I've ever had to make, apart from getting my leg off. That was like, okay, I need to sort my fucking life out. And again, I've done it quite sporadically through my life, but at every sort of stage, I think you just got to take a step back and go, right, what's going on now? Which direction are you going in? Right, can you change this direction?
It takes discipline at 15 to do that.
It does, but I wasn't happy. I think that's how I gauge my life. If I'm happy in my own skin, then things are all right, as a rule of thumb. But if I'm not entirely happy, then I can, have the self-discipline, like you say, to take a step back and go, right, okay, not bad. What are you going to do yourself? Make a change. And that's what it is. I mean, I think, to steal a quote from a very great man, is life is 90% about the situation you're in, 10% what you do about it.
No, 10% what you do about 90%.
Oh, I knew it was something chat about that bit. It's very good. Though. It's very accurate.
Yeah.
Because you've got to make, everyone's got a choice. Oh, I had no choice. You fucking did. It's a lie. Everyone has got a choice in what they do in life, whether it be business, sports, military careers, or whatever. Even in just family life, you have a choice. And I've had to really take my own advice last year, because with the racing stuff last year, I was away fucking flat out. And obviously, because I've got a big group of civilian friends, business friends and military friends, so I can literally be on holiday all bloody year if I want to, but I'm like, no, family time now, and I have to literally just stick to it, and I'm getting better. I'm not the finished article, I don't think anybody is, but I really do make a conscious effort now to just try and put people first who've given a lot for me. I mean, I've said this before, like we all get draped in medals and shit when we come home from operations, but the wives and girlfriends, boyfriends, husbands, whatever it is you're into, that they don't get any recognition, and they are heroes, unsung heroes.
I've definitely noticed the change in you, mate, in the sense that you kind of did do that, the rock star bit after being injured, and rightly so. I mean, you networked and you've done everything you need to, but it has been nice to see you almost step away from that, and you could, as a friend, I can see that family time has massively increased these last couple of years.
Yeah, it has, because like I say, I was caught up in my own bullshit, because you're all over sort of social media or the TV, always on the TV and stuff like that, or little bits in your local rag. I mean, if it's a flipping slow news day in Exeter, they just go on my Twitter and just write some bullshit. I mean, it's... Mate,
I swear to God, the guy does that to me, in the pool. He fucking rings me up and goes, "Aye, mate, have you been up to anything this week?" It's like,
it's where the world, don't it? I mean, and I'm just like, fucking hell, I don't do hardly any. I mean, for business, I do media and stuff, and for the racing, I have to do a little bit of media obligations, but as going out and trying to get myself on TV, I'm fucking not into that no more. Just doesn't float my boat. I mean, I'm happy with my lot at the moment. I say that all comes down to my own personal preference, and any time if I start feeling unhappy, then I make a change. But at the moment, I'm all right. I take over. I've got some real cool friends, got a great family. Don't really need a lot more, do you?
No. Sorry, mate. Go on, I'll let you, because I want to jump back to that when you were injured.
Yeah, so I do as well. But before we get to what I'm guessing was probably one of your worst days in the Corps, if I asked you now, look back at your time in the Marines, what was one of the happiest times, kind of, or best or funniest kind of times in your...
God, there's loads of questions in one there, isn't there? I mean, I think the happiest time was sort of around the sort of Herrick 9 sort of era, 2009, because I enjoyed the soldiering sort of side of thing, but then I was relishing my new role as a commander, so I was leading by example, making sure my personal soldiering skills were on point, so then I could then inspire the younger lads to follow my lead. And I love that. I love just being like really into my role and relishing the opportunity I was given by superiors to promote me. That was one of the funnest times, that 9, 10, 11 period, because I got selected for promotion after Herrick 9. I thought, fuck that, no chance, I'm staying as a corporal, because there's a sort of
Backbone
story, you go for the senior command course to be a sergeant, they remove your spine as well at the same time, so I was like, no, I want to carry on. So that was my sort of highlight between like 2000, the beat up training 2008 to 2011 was sort of my best, most enjoyable time in the Corps. Even right up to the point where I was blown up, I was fucking loving it. It was brilliant. I mean, who's that? There's some Medal of Honor recipient out in the States. He's on YouTube a lot, gobbing off, saying people who say they love kicking down doors are a fucking liar. Well, I just call you a pussy. Because I did love it. There's no buzz. There is no buzz that comes close to fucking blowing a hole in the side of a building, running in, weapons poised, ready to do the business. There's no better buzz. Obviously, when it goes wrong, it goes devastatingly wrong, and it's fucking awful. But there's nothing like it. Trading flipping bullets with people, it's terrifying, exhilarating, exciting. There's nothing. You get so many mix of emotions. There's nothing that comes close to London that comes close to what I've ever experienced.
Just on it's somewhat different, but when I was driving down, I was thinking sort of, someone else might have said this, but from an outsider's point of view about war, it's weird because war sort of brings out the very worst in humanity, people fucking blowing people up left, right and centre, kids, civilians, etc. involved. But then on the complete flip side, it brings out sort of the very best in humanity in terms of your friend who put his knee against your neck and, all the crazy acts of honour that people do when people are blown up and all that sort of stuff. It's a weird old thing, war.
Yeah, it's not pretty. I mean, it's not up to me where we go, but I do the best I can with what I've got. But like you said then, I mean, you can be having a tear up with the flipping Taliban, like shooting news on them, they're pussies, they fire over rivers and stuff, so you can't close with them and kill them. So you'd be over, like the Neb Canal's a big river in Afghanistan, and they'd always have a go at you from like the other side, because they knew you couldn't go and get them. So you'd have a go at them, scrap, like we have a real good way of like flicking that switch to become ultra violent straight away at the flicker switch, and then you are in the game, you're trying to kill the enemy. But then stop firing, and then you switch that straight off, and then you're helping the locals, or like giving sweets to kids, or just stealing push bikes and stuff. And like I used to steal the kids' push bikes, get them to chase me and stuff. But like just like, because it's very weird, and I think that's why so many people get so fucked in the head, because it's that constant switch of emotion. You have to just go on and off, on and off and off, and you're like a cup. And in the day, you can take so much stress. I had, I say PTSD before it became cool, if you like. I had it years ago. So I had it from an incident in 2003, and I got seen for it in 2006. So I had EMDR therapy, which worked fucking brilliant for me. So after
Is that the light one or something?
Yeah. Well, I had it with fingers, so it wasn't the light bar, it was a finger movement. Finger movement. So after I had that, and it worked for me, it doesn't work for everybody, don't get me wrong, but like it worked for me, and I was like, okay. So I took a vested interest, because I was, as Andy said, I was quite highly regarded in my workplace. So I thought, if I'm fucking struggling with stuff, not saying I was stronger mentally than anyone else, but I said, if I'm struggling, there's got to be other people. There's got to be. So I took it upon myself. So I did a TRIM practitioner's course, so trauma risk management, and it was all right. But then I wanted to take it a step further, so I wanted to do the TRIM manager's course, which you only had to do if you were a sergeant major. So I went to the TRIM manager at the unit. And I said, look, I've had experience with PTSD. I said, I think I can maybe help people out a little bit. And he's like, yeah, fucking great idea. This was 2006, so
this is before you've even been blown up, isn't it?
Yeah. So and the PTSD wasn't. There's still stigma attached to it then. So I was like, yeah, I've had it bad, So I wanted to help people get to terms with it, get the help they needed. So I took a vested interest in how the brain works, and since then I've learned lots of. I've done the ALP course and NLP course and things like that to try and help my fellow brothers in arms and sisters in arms and stuff like that. And it just works like we all have a stress level. You have a stress level, and you can have peaks and troughs of stress, and you can have something gets blown up and it dips down again. But once you cross that line, that's it. There's nobody determines where your stress level is. That it's just what it is, and then that's where you get like your body just shuts off to it, and then that's where you get like flashbacks and things because your brain can't store this information, so it just fucks it off and it rolls around your head. Then a smell will trigger it, bang, and that's how you have a flashback and things like that. So I have to draw you a picture because that's how I had it explained to me was a picture. Your brain is a hard drive. You have sights, sounds, feelings, and all that. So it's mega interesting stuff. And that's why I think I don't want to go too off the beaten track, but I have. I'm sure you have as well, Andy. Maybe you as well, Tom. That I have friends with PTSD, and it's fucking crippling. It is by far the worst injury you could ever have, I think. And there are different variants, different degrees of it, if you like. But like, there are a lot of bullshitters out there as well who jump on the bandwagon, and I think it massively detracts from the people that are really struggling with it because it is fucking crippling. The people who've got it bad.
Yeah, I think as well with that, it's not just the people who are fucking lying about it, but it's misdiagnosed in the media. I remember when I was having my tough time, even my own dad was like, "Are you sure you've not got that PTSD?" I was like, "Fucking dad, no, I've not got PTSD. I'm fucking pissed off with."
There's a difference between having a shit time, being a bit stressed out and a bit under yourself, than to having post-traumatic stress.
Yeah. And that's what the media and the whole thing has done, is that, like, my own dad's going, "What's that, PTSD? Are you sure you've not got that?" And it's like, fucking hell, no. I know people who have got it, and it's fucking not that.
Yeah, it's
fucking
horrific.
And it's people who are lying about it and maybe exaggerating it. Because we all have fucking bad days, and we've all got bills to pay, we've all got relationship breakdowns, just because you're having that.
I heard a bit about a lad apparently got PTSD because he didn't go to Afghan. He felt bad because he didn't go. I was like, what the fuck, mate? Get the fuck out of here.
Well, he feels guilty that he didn't apply.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, give me a break. You know what I mean? Some of these people just need fucking shaking.
That would be a fucking... Well, let's talk about that then, mate. Talk about the day you fucking followed in my footsteps and fucking got...
Oh, yeah. It wasn't the best day in the office. It was a normal Afghan day. We had a job, so we were very lucky. The two later tours I did in Afghan, we had a job called Strike Ops. So you basically we're on a nice little camp, and then you get given a target pack. You fly in, smash people up, and then fly back. It was pretty cool. So this one day we had this job to go to an area that we'd actually been before. It's quite gnarly over there, and so we landed on in the evening. I was leading us into the compound, and the owner came out with a pot of tea. He's like, "Yeah, come on, lads." Well, not obviously in English, but he said, "Come on in, come my home." So he let us in. It was great. We built up the defences of the evening. Because you do sort of part of your SOPs. So we put sandbags on the roofs, made gun positions to see if we could defend the place. And then first thing in the morning, I was walking around having a cup of tea, and it just big bang, and they'd shot an underslung grenade into the compound. Bang, blew up like 6 guys. I think maybe 4 guys, but 2 of them were the mortar fire controllers, so they call in the bombs or indirect fire. Yeah. So they're going out on the stretchers, and I fucking nicked one of the radios. I said, "I'll have that." So I went up on the rooftop, calling in the mortars for a day. It was fucking ace. I remember firing my first round. I said, "Get down, lads. I don't know where the fuck this has landed." But it was bang on. I needed a little adjustment. And then, just like fucking levering people with mortars. It was a brilliant day. So we do a day on, day off on patrolling. So it wasn't my day to patrol then. It's a bit of a fucking tough one, really, because you do an honesty trace. So when you go out on the ground, say if I've been out on the ground and I say, "Right, Tom, I went here," I draw you on the map where I've been, and then so you go, "Okay, I'm not going to go there," because if you set patterns and go over your footsteps, that's where they're going to lay bombs, and then you're going to end up in bits. So the honesty trace that I got given wasn't honest, shall we say? So I planned to go out first light in the morning. So I briefed my lads in the evening, and I said, "Okay, we're going here, 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 and here. This is the plan. I'm just going to go in the village, have a chat to locals, see what's going down." So then we set off first light, and in Afghanistan, literally as soon as the sun crests the horizon, it's like fucking baking hot. We was walking through this fucking cornfield as well. It was red hot, I remember it. And so we crossed over this wall, and we were walking up this say it was about 4 or 5 meters wide, this big track, walking up there, and you could see the little village centre about 200 meters to the front. And that's when something changed. You get this, like, you call it atmospherics, but it's like a spider sense, if you like, where I could simplify it, be like if you went into in the middle of the mall somewhere, all the farmers in there, you're walking in your business suit and like the jukebox stops, everyone turns around and looks, who the fuck's this? That sort of mood, like you feel the mood drop. Yeah. I was thinking, oh fucking hell, something's going to go on here. And it's when you become hyper vigilant, you look for the presence of the abnormal and things like that. And the kids then start bolting off, and we thought, okay, it's a combat indicator that even though I dick to Taliban, I don't tend to kill kids a lot. And then I just looked over, as the kids run off to the right-hand side, I looked over and saw these two guys in a field, like 200 metres away, and I thought it just didn't fit, and I thought, fucking hell. So I followed my eye line down to the wall about 2 metres to my side, and I could see this oil drum poking through with a bit of bracken thrown over the top of it. I mean, it was fucking shit Cam and Con, if you ask me. But and I knew exactly what it was, so I just turned and went to run. But they say, like, you get people have said that, being in a car accident, things like that, the time slows down. Yeah. We all know that's impossible, but what I think happens is your brain goes so fast, you have so many thoughts going through your head at this one point in time that it gives you the perception of time slowing down. So in the quarter of a second, I seen them. They're the trigger men. It's a command wire IED. That was the bomb. By the time I turned around and shouted Luke to run behind me, bang, it went off in that time. And the first thing that happened was like I was on fire, so I was red hot. I was just fucking winging through the air, and so I was shot like an arrow into the other side of the wall. I've had my helmet on and stuff. So when I hit the wall, I think that's what broke my neck. So I hit with such force, so I snapped my neck at C3 vertebrae. Cool story about that coming in a minute. This is quite funny. So I was led there, and so it sounds fucking cliche, but the training kicks in. So I was led on the floor, dust was everywhere. I thought, okay, get up. I was talking to myself, get up. So I couldn't get up. So fucking hell, feeling really heavy. So check yourself over. So my right leg was hitched up right underneath my arse, sort of thing. I was a snotty heap on lead on my right hand side. So reached down my right leg. Yeah, could feel all that. Good. And I was searching with my left hand. So I went down to my left leg, and I felt it really wet. So I pulled my hand up, and I was like, it's covered in blood. Okay, there's blood there, but it's attached. And I could feel my heel as well. I couldn't quite get to my toe because I couldn't move very well. Most of that. Okay, we're doing well. And so I went to check my right arm, and I couldn't feel my arm. I was actually led on it. I didn't realise I was led on it. I was like, fucking hell, I can't feel my arm. And then like the corner of my eye, I could see this massive pool of blood forming. And I was like, fuck, I've lost my arm. That's what I initially thought, because I couldn't feel it either. So I reached in our shoulder patches, we have tourniquets. So I was reaching into my shoulder patch to get my tourniquet out, and I was like, just really struggling. I couldn't really move very well. And I still had a rocket attached to me, actually. So I was bloody trying to, I was like, fucking hell, couldn't get it. Then my hand slipped and went inside my neck. I was like, fucking hell. And I sort of pulled it out, and I thought, fuck, what was that? I didn't realize. Then I could sort of let there. I was like,
the pumping.
Yeah, I was like, fucking hell.
Oh, could you hear that?
Yeah, I was like, they fucking got me, the bastards. They finally got me. And I got me at that point there is when I went, fuck it, wrapped. I thought, oh, they've done me. And then, I make light of it now, but obviously at the time I was like, fucking hell, they got me. But, and then literally then is when Richie come running through the dust. I still think, I see Richie quite often, so he said he walked to me, but it looked to me like he was running, but I was obviously fucking hanging out. Then he came to me we're trained to ridiculously high standards in trauma management and stuff. I mean, if your leg fell off now, Tom, I think between me and Andy, we could probably save you.
Nice one.
So you'd be all right. But then say Richie didn't know what to do. I mean, who's ever tried to treat someone with their head hanging off? So
yeah, because like you got to stop the blood, but then you don't. The blood's got to get to.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I got the brain damage in the end. But so Richie just packed me full of dressings and Celox and dressings, and then just tried to stop bleeding, and then stuck his knee in, which stemmed the bleeding. But because there's a big hole in my carotid artery, I had no blood flow going to my brain. So that's why I ended up getting the brain damage from. So it's like the reverse of a stroke, if you like, whereas like strokes are bleeds on the brain.
Yeah.
It's actually called a cerebral infarction, I think. So because I had no blood going to the cells, that's why they died. So I was led there, fucking hell, I'm all right, sort of thing. And then I just remember saying to myself, right, okay, I remember Rich was talking to me, saying, you're all right, mate, you're all right. Just encourage, as you would do. I think, yeah, okay, I was still with it. And I remember thinking, right, okay, just stay awake. stay awake, keep moving. And I thought to myself I was having a little rave sort of thing, going crazy, but apparently I was just slowly moving my shoulders and stuff and moving my hands and stuff. I remember trying to put my hand up to block the sun, just boom in the sunshine, kept putting my hand up, thinking, fucking hell, I'm blind it. And so they got me to where the helicopters were going to pick me up. So before that as well, so because I was the commander of the radio, my radio was now basically a bag of springs. It was smashed to pieces in the bomb, and the other radio in the section, so we have it's filled with crypto, they call it, so it's coded something, and so the blast wave had knocked all the fill out of it, so it used to man nor beast, so we couldn't call for help, so had to relay through the personal radios through to the base we just left to then get the helicopter in. And it was then when I was led on the stretcher on the grass. So they dropped me over the wall first, well, dicks. So I was led down the stretcher, and then like I remember it was when like Richie did stop the bleeding, but he stuck his knee into my neck, which didn't help my broken neck. But you just do what you can.
Did you know it was broken? Like
No, I was fucking out of it. I didn't really know what was going on. I remember just thinking, stay awake. And then so I was led there, and I started. Everything was getting really heavy, and I'm thinking, fuck, I'm going. And sort of just, there's no white light, no bullshit like that. Just everything was completely black. And then I remember seeing like this, just like it looked like a little flicker thing. I thought, what the fuck is that? I remember saying to myself, what the fuck is that? And then it just zoomed in, and what it actually was Vicky on me, giving me the old chest compressions. I was like, fuck. And I was back in the room then. And when I was like really groggy before, I was 100% with it. Like I'd just taken speed or something. I was like, whoa. I said, I need to get the fuck out of here now. I said, where's the helicopter? Oh, it's coming. I was like, fucking get it here now. Like flapping a little bit, I must admit. And then I remember I could hear the rotor blades. I was like, fucking yes. So just stay away. If you get on the helicopter, you've cracked it. And then I remember that when the helicopter landed behind me, I could feel the hot exhaust on my neck. And I was like, yes, just a little bit more. And then they put me up onto the helicopter. And I remember seeing this guy in a flight helmet. And I thought he got like a hose pipe and jammed it down my neck. But it was actually the little airway thing, to keep my airway open. And then they put me down, and then that's the last thing I remember. But there was 6 of us involved in the blast. So there was other lads on the helicopter. So they were there.
It was a big...
Yeah, it was a big old bit of kit. It smashed the wall to fucking pieces. And it injured, so it broke. Peter shrapnel went into Luke's brain, smashed all his side up. Gav broke both his legs, I think, and had like chest concussion injury sort of thing. They like smashed his lungs up. Ben had his legs smashed up. Jordan got away with it, and who else did it? Jordan got the shrapnel on the backs of his legs, and Spence had his throat ripped open. So yeah, we're all in a bag of shit, really, and. Yeah, so I was on the helicopter, and that's when I don't remember anything else. And then, that's when the rest of the lads on the helicopter were saying they were giving me all defib to get me going again. And we have quite a bit of dark humour in the corps, so the lads actually crated me. So being crated means you have to buy a crate of beer because I was Jack, so I took all the blood because the other lads needed blood and there was none left, but I had it all. So they crated me, the bastards. So yeah, and I woke up a couple of days later in Birmingham.
Well, you flew straight from Bastion
from point of injury to being on the operating table in Birmingham, 20 hours.
Mate, you said the same
thing. You can't even get back on R&R that quick.
Yeah, it's just
it's ridiculous. Ridiculous how quick it is.
Your story's so similar to mine, and it's normally me telling it pretty much like for like, but me sitting here now listening to you, it makes me so proud to be British and in the military and part of that team, because fuck me, to go from that what you've been through to me being your mate now and knowing everything, it's like fuck me how proud are you of the lads and the whole logistics of getting you from A to B.
It's a massive team effort. I mean, you come literally from the guy who receives the call at Bastion to then telling the helicopter guys, to then the pilots, to the fucking surgeons on the helicopter, to the lads on the ground. Then you've got the fucking motorbike riders in Birmingham Airport, the police who are blue lighting your back, the ambulance driver there. It's everybody. It's a fucking massive team effort. The people in the UK are
fucking then telling your family and sending support for your family, bringing them to the hospital.
Mate, that's the worst thing. Then imagine fucking what it must have been like for my missus to fucking because we were in Marrow Quarters at the time. I think we might have been. No, we were in the civvy house, but there was other military people that lived around, and my missus was out with the horses, I think, and then so the neighbour went over to her and said, the military have been here looking for you. And she's like, what? And then as she was telling her, the car pulled up, and she said, that's them there. And she said, my neighbour took the kids off, and they told Tess, oh, fucking hell, mate. I can't even imagine what I was like. Yeah. Mate, it nearly brings me to tears now. I fucking cannot imagine what I was like.
That's the only thing that makes me feel sad, about being blown up. To think of my dad, obviously I'd lost my mum, so it's just my dad on his own. And my dad's quite a quiet, old school fella. And the thought of him not only just being told, but then making that drive from Liverpool to Birmingham, to then sitting there watching me in a coma for 2 weeks, just fucking sitting there. And he's not the type of fella who'd, maybe read me a book or talk to me. I'm just thinking, fuck, what was he having to... And he's not a talkative guy, so he's probably getting a coffee or going for a beer in the night, and he's got no one to talk to. And then during the day, he's just sitting there watching his son bandaged head to toe, fucking not saying anything back to him. Yeah,
it's awful. I mean, like, I remember my missus is quite tough, she's been through an awful lot, obviously not even before what happened to me. But I remember when I remember she came in the hospital, I was in the ICU, and I was fucking out of it. One of the biggest things, I couldn't speak because of my brain damage. I couldn't speak for fucking ages. I remember coming in, she's bursting into tears. I was like, fuck. And then automatically, they said that switch, it clicked into fight mode again. Okay, so now I've got to protect her. I've got to I was like, oh, I'm okay. Well, I said, yeah, I'm okay, don't worry about it. But I was like, I couldn't fucking speak.
Jesus.
So she's like, fucking hell. I mean, because they thought it was drugs to start with while I was so slurry. But then obviously the brain scans obviously showed that front left lobe was stacked it in. Yeah, it was... Because
your injury count, I thought mine was pretty impressive. 27, individual injuries, but you're...
400 significant wounds over a centimetre it was.
Wasn't that a British record or something?
Yeah, to survive, because I had a 95% severance of my carotid artery. Which is
told you I'd bring your cool guest to the podcast.
Which is a British record to survive it.
Jesus.
Yeah, I might have to find out them Guinness motherfuckers and see what's the world record.
Fuck. So your main one's the carotid artery?
Yeah, so that was my main injury. I mean, because that, obviously the shrapnel on my arms was scarred up and my legs were scarred up and that, but they heal sort of thing. Yeah, the main one.
You can still see it now a little bit.
Yeah, it's quite low.
Oh God, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's actually over a foot, that is. 13 inches.
Fuck.
Yeah, so that was the biggest one because obviously that led to so many other complications. You think brain damage makes you a bit slower sort of thing. I mean, I worked really hard with speech and language therapists to be able to talk properly again. Well, I think I could talk properly. But if I have one beer, I would get proper slurry.
Really?
Yeah, get really slurry. And
I can vouch for that.
And that's what made my eye go tits up as well.
What about mood swings or anything like that? Did you notice anything like that?
Yeah, loads of that. Massive. I was quite impulsive anyway, but fucking on steroids impulsive. I'd be like, I went out and bought an Aston Martin, fuck's sake. Yeah. I'm going to buy an Aston Martin. Tesco's done it, and I was on the way to London. I went and picked it up. She's like, what the fuck you done? I was like, God's car. Shit like that. And I was like, fucking hell. Yeah, the mood thing, yeah, I've managed it quite well now because you don't recover brain cells. So, I get people even know this about me. If you just talk to me in the street, because obviously they don't live with me every day. But my missus and kids and that they obviously see me all hours a day. But fatigue is a massive thing as well. I get fucking knackered all the time and just have to just rap and do nothing for a little bit and just chill my beans for a little bit and then I'm all right again. I have to sort of just manage my time a lot better now. But again, it's this fucking old story now, so I'm used to it. I live and breathe it, so I don't actually think there's anything wrong with me. So the only thing that pisses me off is my hand, because it's dog shit, but it is what it is. It just
can't
work.
feel it at all.
I can feel it. I can feel hot and cold now.
Right.
Yeah, because I used to didn't feel it at all. So I used to put it into the bath and red hot bath and pull the plug out and I go, hey, look at my party trick. And then they get blisters all over my hand and the doctors just go fucking spastic at me. Yeah.
Is that like that My Germs? What's that program? Scary movie, is it? Oh, this is my strong head. Then he dip it in everyone's drink and he's My Germs.
But I still, my missus, I feel gonna get a bit fruity at the night time. I'll go, give us a go. And she goes, get that fucking thing off me. She fucking hates it. Because I've got no dexterity either. It's just a lump of...
Have you ever, what you miss after, when I've been with girls, in the bedroom, get your stump out and rub the stump against your missus?
She hates it, mate.
Yeah.
She this is a genuine story. My missus still hasn't touched... she did. She literally went
really?
Yeah, she hadn't touched my stump. She fucking hates it.
That's when it's love, mate. True love. You need to work on that.
So I'd put it in her. That's that true love.
He's got to rub against them. We have to put an X-rated one on this one. No, mate, mate, that's what I used to think was so funny, mate. That's what I used to think of when I first got injured. And again, it's one of the stories I used to speak about with the blokes, but you never really speak openly. I only started speaking openly when I wrote the book, and just blokes being blokes in general. And I'd be thinking, how the fuck am I going to pull a chick? Not only have I got to explain to them that me fucking everything still works perfectly fine, I've just got no nads, but also I've got fucking one leg and a stump might be rubbing up against you in the middle of the night. And it's like, how a chick's going to react when I'm lying in bed? Or I'm thinking, if I'm going to have sex, do I need to lie down first and then take the leg off, or do I just crack on with it standing up? And these are things that, I mean...
What do you do? Do you take it off...
You can do it.
But yeah, but known to have a bit of throw people around the hotel. No, you nah, you can obviously just leave it on, fine. Yeah. But then
if we lie in bed of an evening, like watching the iPad or whatever, and I just I wax my left leg, and she sleeps on that side of the bed on the left, so I just literally wang the stump over. She goes, "Get it off me!" And then that's it. It's like a red rag to a bull. And so I start flipping, nuzzling it into her, to her face and stuff.
I mean, you can say it's a crude conversation about sex and amputee, but I bet you there's civilians, amputees, who probably there's no one else to speak to. One thing I thought that was brilliant with getting injured with your mates is that if I had the exact same injuries in a car accident, right, I'd be on an NHS ward, which I'm sure would be great, but I'd be next to a guy who's had a stroke. I'd be with maybe a kid who's got fucking, I don't know, meningitis or something. I'd be with a guy who's broke his leg playing football. I'd be with an old woman who's fell down the stairs. You know, you the fucking you say to a mate, you know, with your one leg, how do you shag with one leg? You can't fucking say that, can you?
So one thing that has good come out of it is my missus said to it, she goes, at least she's got her metal wings now. Do you get red wings and brown wings? Well, metal wings is having sex with a disabled person. So she's like, I've got my metal wings.
Oh, that's a good one, mate. I've never heard metal wings.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
Maybe that's what we should do, mate, as well. Make like a sex for disabled people handbook or something. I'm sure that there's got to be a market for disabled people. Tom, you're the brains of this podcast.
I'll get it on Amazon, Tom. Yeah.
You're the brains of this.
You write it, I'll publish it.
Okay. Yeah. Mate, but I guess for you though, mate, the stump injury, I don't know, maybe I'm guessing. That is the lesser injury for you, the brain injury causes you most, or
I mean, so I got to a functional stage with the brain damage, say after about sort of 6 to 9 months, where I could hold a conversation, I could manage my fatigue levels quite well. But then that's when my mobility really started to piss me off, because I couldn't use crutches because the strong hand wasn't doing it. I couldn't support myself in crutches. I had to be in a wheelchair all the time. And I was on one of them one-handed wheelchairs as well. So
you're a fucking ball ache.
It was a fucking ball ache, yeah. So that's when the mobility thing really started becoming a pain in the ass. And then I was in and out of hospital all the time, having operations on my leg to try and save it. And then I sort of just, the brain damage just sort of sorted itself out as it does. It just sort of, you learn to live with it, and then, make it up as you go along, cuff it, as we all do, I suppose. But yeah, so when the mobility thing started to really fuck me off, and then it was the constant being back in a wheelchair, which I just fucking hate it. You've tried to be on the piss in a wheelchair, it's a fucking nightmare.
Mate, was you there in London that time with us? And I think we went, can't remember where we went, but I think it was Spider, who's a triple amputee, our mate, and you're trying to get him in and out of the clubs, and he was in a fucking big wheelchair.
Oh, it was the electric one as well he was in, wasn't it? Yeah.
Heavy as fuck. Lifting them up, and the bouncers are going, how the fuck? And we're already pissed, you know? So there's like 5 blokes who are pissed, also missing limbs, trying to pick up a triple amputee in an electric wheelchair and get him in a club in London.
Mate, JJ flipping took me back. I was on the core birthday 350th piss up in London, and I flew up from Exeter to London City, to then get the tube back in. To I think we're meeting the old artillery barracks, where we were meeting for a big old birthday celebration. And I've been out of hospital, would have been 5 days, I think, after having amputation. So I jumped on an airplane and got fucking levered, and I was going to miss my flight. And JJ goes, right, I'll take you to the airport. And I was incapacitated totally, he's in my wheelchair. And he's pushing me along, pissed up as well, running through the streets of London. It's all cobble streets. He dinked the front wheels in. I went flying, of course, put my leg down, stump exploded. I was like, fuck it. Yeah, that was another good bit.
Doc Lambertar's this is a second-hand bit. Doc Lambertar's this great story. And he was with Spider again, who's a triple amputee, and he gets to the...
That's his nick, yeah.
Matt Webb's his name.
Yeah, his name is not actually Spider.
Yeah. So, of course, yeah.
I christen you Spider. No, his name's Matt Webb. Obviously gets called Spider. And he tells this great story, the doc, and they went down into the toilets, and his big wheelchair couldn't get close enough to the urinals or something, so they had to go in the toilet, but then it couldn't go to the... No, that's it. His wheelchair couldn't go into the toilet, so they had to go by the urinal. So they pushed his wheelchair as far as they could up to the urinal. But obviously, he's got no fucking legs. So they got two lads either side, and they're holding this guy up with fucking one arm. And I think he grabbed his knob, and the doc and this other bloke's fucking holding him, just this guy to the fucking urinal while he can have a piss. And like, imagine if you'd walked in and you just seen two fellas holding a guy who's got hold of his knob, and it's just...
It's the world we live in. It's fucking weird, isn't it? Oh, I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, I've had such a good career. It was great while it lasted, and like, you know, the friends I've met since then, you know, everyone in recovery, you know, even like, you know, the civvies have been really, really kind and supportive to me. You know, sporting endeavours I've been on since then, and none of it would have happened if I didn't get blown up. I wouldn't be here now. You know, I wouldn't be, you know, working for a tech company if I wouldn't have been blown up. I wouldn't be racing cars. It's just like...
That's nothing. What I mean. You have done some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing, actually. I was thinking when you're on the way... I was texting you earlier. I thought, I don't want to sound like a boring bastard, so what have I done pretty cool?
Mate, you've done fucking loads.
Was it man. Ian said that he did Everest, some sort of record at Everest?
No, he just went to Everest Base Camp and got fucking nicked up there for being pissed.
Yeah.
When he was saying he got caught being naked.
Oh yeah.
Another mate of mine, Lost Forest, had a fight with the Nepalese ninjas up there, and he got
Nepalese ninjas.
Yeah, he got done big time. I think he was naked as well. Yeah, I did Kilimanjaro. I think that was quite cool.
Yeah.
Did that 10 months post amputation, which was
good effort, though.
Fastest ascent.
I remember
post amputation.
Yeah. I think I've said this before, but I've asked this question before, but. What do you think it is when you get injured that suddenly there's something where you grab sort of life by the balls, isn't it? And because I imagine you wouldn't have done, well, you might well have done the cool things if you hadn't have been blown up. But there's something about having that injury that suddenly you think, fuck, actually, this isn't a dress rehearsal. Like it's like.
Yeah, I actually say that in my talks. Life isn't a dress rehearsal, grab by the balls. But I think it's because, you know, being the career I had before as a soldier, you're a fighter. So I just saw everything as my next battle. When you say goal setting, I looked at it as battles I had to win. That was, you know, be able to talk properly, then being able to walk, then be able to, you know, get a prosthetic, learn how to walk on that. Right now I need to, whatever it was I set myself to, I just had to do it to the best of my ability. And I'm very lucky that was ingrained in me since I was 16 when I joined the Corps, because I was told from then, you are one of the best soldiers on the planet, so you have to be the part and play the part all the time. And I don't know anybody from a Marines background who's been injured and hasn't thrived. I don't know any. You know, I'm not sure that's just us as a cap badge, but I think most of the injured community are the same. Not saying that Marines don't do well in civilian life, even if they haven't been injured, because they do. I mean, the business I'm in now, we go all over the country into these big businesses, and like to see the head of like Unilever Security's a bootneck, you know, level 39's a bootneck. They're everywhere. We just tend to do well in whatever we do because it's ingrained from you from day dot. When you step through those gates, you are the best in the world, and it's carrying that mindset and sort of core values and ethos forward that will make you survive.
The big thing with that as well, I think, the two things pardon me. Two things on that is, one, I think it's your surroundings as well. When you're getting injured, you're together. So when I'm seeing Vicey 10 months after having his leg amputated climbing Kilimanjaro, it's like, fuck me. I
need to keep up.
Yeah, I want to keep up with him. You know, I was once soldiered alongside him. I want to keep doing those kind of things. And also, secondly, which you've already alluded to, is you're like that from week one, day one. As soon as you walk through those gates at Livingston, that's you. And a question I think I've spoken about on a podcast before with you, people sometimes say, you know, I've got a friend who's had an injury, similar leg injury to you. Would you advise amputation? And I'm thinking, fuck me, it's so personal, because just because you've became an amputee or disabled or had some kind of crazy injury doesn't mean you're now going to turn into climbing Kilimanjaro. Do you know what I mean? If you were a fat bastard who likes coming home playing computer games every night, eating takeaway before your injury, you'd probably be like that after your injury.
Yeah.
The fact is, you were Royal Marine Commando, sniper, served all over the world, done all kinds, this and this. You've got injured. You're probably gonna still want to do those things and still have a cool life.
It's like you said about the lad at Headley, you know, if you're a dickhead before you lost your legs, doesn't mean you're not now. And it is, I mean, it's different folks with different strokes, you know, each to their own. I mean, I've had people come to me and say, oh, do you think I should get my leg amputated? And I'm like, who am I to tell you that? It's completely up to you. And like you say, it comes down to your own personal circumstances. I mean, I had my reasons, and it worked out for me. I mean, I wear jeans a lot now, or suits and shit if I have to. And you can't tell if I haven't got a leg. So I'm quite proud of that fact that hardly anyone recognises because I walk quite well. But who can tell somebody that they got to have their leg cut off or arm or whatever?
I think though, mate, and it's testament to people like, I mean, yourself definitely, and hopefully me and the friends we've got, is people I'm hoping see things like the Invictus Games, see soldiers doing well, or former soldiers, and thinking that there is life. You know, I do think it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts as well, Tom, what you thought the Paralympics and things like Invictus Games, and just in general, injured soldiers being a lot more in the public eye after an injury, whether that has give hope to civilians to think, you know, bloody hell, I seen a guy down in the high street the other day with one leg and he seems to be okay. Because I don't remember seeing that when I was a kid.
No. Yeah, 100%. Much. I mean, it's brilliant. It's fucking so much better than watching Love Island. But but yeah, no, it is. No, it's brilliant that it's getting the airtime, I suppose, that maybe it wouldn't have done. I don't know.
I think it's more of a generation thing as well. Because like when we were kids growing up, like the conflicts going on weren't that severe. Whereas, like, you know, if you are, say, a 13-year-old now, you know, you're more than likely to see an amputee walking down the street or whatever. I think, like, especially for the Paralympic movement as a whole, because I mean, Jimmy Carr made a joke about it years ago. He said,
I remember it.
Yeah, he said about Afghanistan, at least our Paralympic team's going to be quality in a few years, and it fucking has been. Yeah. You know, there's, like, say, one of my best mates, Dave Ensign, he won a bloody bronze medal
in Rio. Yeah,
he won a bronze medal at Rio. And I remember he said before we went out there, he goes, I quit smoking like 2 months ago. I've just started training and my coach is a photographer. And he won a Paralympic bronze medal. It's fucking insane. And I know so many, and you know, Scotty Meana just been at the World Cup. And
Joe Townsend.
Joe's been, it's just like all these people are fucking brilliant. And I think, to be fair, I mean, my take on it, if it wasn't for Harry getting kick-starting the Invictus Games.
Harry, not just fucking Harry.
By Prince Harry. Royal Highness didn't kick-start it from the get-go with the Invictus Games. I don't think it would have... definitely not in the military community. I don't think it would have got the traction to deliver elite athletes into professional sport. But I think he must take a lot of credit for that.
He's been mega Prince. I mean, you're a bit more pally with him than I am, but I remember being up in Catterick, and we worked quite a lot with him, didn't we, at the first Invictus Games?
Yeah.
And just me being a gobby scouser, just taking the piss as always. I was up in Catterick, and there was a lot of pictures of me and Harry and you and everyone. I went up there, and a few of the staff there went, seeing you and Harry, you know, God, seen quite a lot of them, have you? And I was just joking, taking the piss, and I went, yeah, me and PH, you know, we're best mates now and all that. Complete joke, obviously. And anyway, he fucking turned up. I had no idea he turned up, because you don't get told anyway, do you, till the last minute. And I'm thinking, fuck, I've been taking the piss, saying to everyone I'm good mates with him. And I'm thinking,
gotta call you out.
Yeah. And as he's walking down the corridor, I'm thinking, I just hope he recognises me. And he's walking down the corridor, and we're all standing there waiting for him to come and shake our hands. And I was so glad he looked at me, and he kind of winked and pointed, and he walked down. So I thought, thank God that he recognises me. And my kind of claim to fame with the royal family is he walks up to me and he does the old Harry Enfield sketch and goes, hey, how's it going, lad? How's it going? And I was like, yes.
He is quite a funny bloke. Like, I haven't seen him for a few months, but like,
you went to his wedding, didn't you?
Yeah, but
did you?
He came to the. We had the race cars down at Limstone, and he had his first like Captain General's visit, because he's Captain General Marines now, and he had his first visit, and we were on the race truck and all the cars out there, and I was going to show him around the car and that, and he rocked up and he was chatting to James and Charlotte Holder at the time. He's just walking over to the parade square, and you could see like, and he pinged me, and I could tell he was fucking talking about me. And I think the first thing he said to me, he rocked, I was like, all right, dickhead, or something like that. Yeah, and like, I got a bet with him actually about we're going to be having a little race around the track.
Really? What was his wedding like?
Oh mate, I can't remember.
Was you pissed?
Oh yes. Well, so I'd say I've got a bit. I've got a drink problem. I'm not going to lie about it. I've got a bit of a problem with booze. Well, no, actually, I haven't. It's just got a problem with me. But like so mate of mine who I was blown up with. See, it's just so cool because like, you know, see, I was blown up with my lads. I was in rehab with my lads. I know these sporting endeavours with my lads. We've been around the world together. So I was actually at a wedding with Luke Darlington when the lads took a piece of shrapnel to the brain. So he now works. He was a production line manager at Jaguar Land Rover. How the fuck he got that? I don't know, because he is thick as shit. And that was too much stress for him on 50 grand a year. He just rapped on it. And then he's so he now works for Heineken. I believe it's Heineken, but Heineken own some cider brand or whatever. Anyway, so he works in the Heineken factory in Hereford. So he rocks up to the royal wedding, and of course we had fucking security up the yin yang. So you had to go like all these airport security checks, passports, and all that sort of thing to get into the where was it again? Not Buckingham Palace. What was it called? Windsor Castle.
Windsor Castle. Yeah.
So it was there, and so we were. Queue, we had to be there at like 7 a.m, so we're in the queue. Anyway, Luke
7 a.m?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Like, and so this is what we were told, to be there like fucking 5 hours before.
Wait,
anyway.
so just rewind. So did you get an invitation through the post?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just comes.
Yeah.
And you know what it is, or you just say.
Just Prince Harry's handwriting saying, "Vicey, come to me wedding, mate."
All right, Royal, fancy coming down the wedding. But yeah. So yeah, we rocked up anyway, and it was just this fucking thousands of people. Like I'd never been to
I was
Windsor
watching
before.
it on the fucking telly, I know.
Yeah, and there was thousands, like, so even to get in there, and there's like, it was a fucking ball ache.
Gorgeous day, wasn't it?
Oh, it was red hot. And so I rocked up there, and we finally got through the security. We were there about, I don't know, a couple of hours before. And we had this little like spot outside the step, so right outside the step there. And I was there, and then Luke Darlington goes, "I've worked for Heineken," you know. He opens up this little hamper basket. This is like 9 a.m, and he had these fucking like pre-mixed like strawberry daiquiris. I was like, "Fuck him, I'm having some of that." Anyway, come 10 o'clock, I'm shit faced. We had like bottles of prosecco coming out of our ears. Then we I just got fucking minging in the end, and I don't really remember an awful lot. I remember Dave Ensign was texting me in the evening, going, "Oh, what the fuck's going on, mate?" So, mate, I'm in bed. I was in bed by like 9 o'clock.
Really?
Yeah.
I seen Dave on the TV walking in.
Yeah. He's a fucking laddie. Yeah, it was fucking random shit like that. And
that's what I mean, mate. Your life. I mean, going to Prince Harry's wedding. I mean, if you hadn't been blown up, there's fucking no chance.
Oh no chance. You know, the first time I met him in Colorado. Oh, that's a fucking funny story. So it was in Colorado. We was at this governor's house or whatever it was in this little gated community. It was this fucking great big house, and it was all like free booze. So my defaults then, if it's free booze, I always think it's going to run out, so I just fucking try and kick. So we were outside. This is fucking so bizarre. So we was outside having a smoke and that, and we was in our little ringer still, and Harry's there. We was having a few drinks, and he goes, and I said to him, "You're called Royal?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I haven't seen you do the commando test yet." Just like, and then fronted him out. I said, why don't you be the captain general and all that sort of thing? Anyway, so yeah, and so we ended up getting.
You set the ball rolling for the whole captain.
I'll take full credit for it. No, it wasn't me. But yeah, so we ended up getting fucking levered, and he's like, "I want to go out with the lads," And his private security officer was like, "Fucking no, you're not." And he's like, and then fucking bunged him in a car, and literally went like waving like this.
Really?
Yeah, I reckon we could have got him out that night, but
fucking hell.
Yeah. It's fucking mad. I'd say like what world you live in now. I'd say this is all like ages ago now. I mean, I don't mix in those sort of circles very often anymore. I mean,
mate, it's given me some. I mean, and you're in a lot of my stories, but like, mate, there's things we got to do, like little funny things like that. I mean, but that's what you're saying before. It's a dangerous kind of, it's a dangerous balancing act, because one minute you're thinking, yeah, we're so fucking cool, but then you can fall into that. Wow, I'm on the piss of Prince Harry.
I'll never get lost in my own bullshit anymore.
Mate, like again, some of the story, like that story is a legendary story, just that one thing, and you could probably reel off fucking 20 of them now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's funny, isn't it? Because since we've been injured, me and Vicey have done a lot of the trips and stuff together. Like, we done 3 weeks in Washington together, didn't we?
Oh yeah, with your foolproof plan on how to fucking gamble. Cheers, dickhead.
Which one?
You gave me that fucking algorithm. You said that you fucking bollocks. It cost me £200 a fucking day for about a year. You twat.
The stories like that.
Yeah. Well, you had a bit of a fucking problem, didn't you, of gambling?
I was fucked on it. Yeah.
Convinced me of this algorithm, right? He said, "Yeah, I've worked it out," and he had this little like app on his phone, and I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And then like, so it's 200 quid a day I was doing on the fucking horses because of you. And then I rapped on it.
But mate, I think for a while, mate, like I was gambling quite a lot. Like, so you were drinking and stuff, and it's because there's no structure, isn't it? Because you live in this fucking rock star lifestyle. You know, you're on the piss with Prince. I think in my book, I say something along the lines of, you know, 1 minute I was on a piss with Prince Harry, the next day I was lying in bed having fucking masturbated 3 times that day. And it was like, that's the highs and the lows of my life, you know.
Yeah.
And it was like,
and it is, mate. What I go back to what I said right at the start is you lose your psychedelic. And so I'm very proud of the work I'm doing at the moment with our app. Is like, you know, it will give you a you know, do a psychometric personality profile, and test will tell you what industry you're suited to, and then the jobs inside that industry, which will then tell you what qualifications you need, where to find them, what experience you need, where to find it, and then you can, you know, find your identity again, because that's what, you know.
It sounds like, mate, from your experience, it's ideal for what you do now is ideal.
It is that, because, like, you know, and that can help so many things. I mean, if you lose your identity and you're not fulfilled in the workplace or in your life, that's when mental health becomes an issue. So any sort of like niggling things you got can come to the front, and it's all about fulfillment in life and keeping yourself happy. If you are happy doing fuck all, playing an Xbox or whatever, good luck to you, crack on. But that's not me, and that's not the kind of message I want to deliver to my children. Is they want to go out and earn things and be proud of their achievements. You've got to go out there and work hard for it. Nothing comes to you for free. You know, as you said, Tom, this in the dress rehearsal, you get one crack at life.
Yeah.
And if you don't put all your all into it, you're going to fall short. And who wants to be on their deathbed when they're 80-year-old, sat in your own shit? You know, you're starting nappies, you're finishing nappies, just thinking, if only I did this, if only I did that.
Yeah, that regret is fucking poisonous, isn't it?
And I'm not saying everything I've done has been successful. Fuck me. Failed. In my military career, I failed. I failed my fucking juniors the first time I went on it. Failed. But it's about how you turn those. I mean, that comes down to sort of personality trait, is how you turn those failures around and what you learn from them. If you fucking keep making the same mistake, you're a fucking idiot. You know, you need to just learn from your mistakes and strive to achieve all the time, and just, you know, life ain't really hard. It's a game. It's a big game we're all playing, and it's how well you play your hand you're dealt. You know? And to be fair, I mean, a few years ago I got dealt a pretty shitty hand, but you don't want to be defined by. That's why, like, you know, I used to wear shorts all the time purely for fucking admin reasons of just like being able to sort my leg out and stuff like that. But I genuinely don't wear them much anymore, because don't want people to label me as, oh, he's that guy who lost his leg or whatnot, you know. And I don't want that. I mean, you said as well, I don't want to be defined by that, you know. I had a great fucking time in the Corps. It was fucking brilliant. I wouldn't swap it for anything, but that's done with now. I mean, I look back at it for memories, I could talk about it for hours, some of the crazy fucking shit we got up to, but I don't want to be remembered, you know, in 10 years' time as, oh, that lad who got blown up in Afghanistan. That's not me. I want to be more than that, and I will be more than that, because that's what I've set my mind to now, whether that be in business, sports, driving, coaching, whatever. I mean, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up yet. So, I mean, if you ask me right now, what do I want to be? I want to be a Marine, but I can't do that anymore. So I've got to go for the second best option, which at the moment I don't really know where that is, but we're just all mucking through at the moment in life. And
Mate, talk about the app then.
So the app,
I know you mentioned, but what's it called?
We're able to put links and stuff in, but
cool. So it's called Employable. I am Ployable. So it's basically you create a profile on it, you enter your qualifications, your work experiences, all that sort of thing, and it will then you can do a psychometric test on it. It's not out in version 1, but it will be in version 2 to then tell you what industry you're suited to. But it's got like a coaching suite on it, so it can anything from anti-bullying videos, how to cope with that, down to CV writing, cover letters, ex-offender help, all sorts. It's got a support page, so you can, you know, as we know, people don't talk to people anymore. They're always on their phones or devices. So you can click on, say, if I had a mental health issue, I could go onto the mental health list of charities that come up, bang, click on it. You can phone them in the app, email them, or go onto their website. So that's a really cool thing. And you can search for jobs on it. You can search for training opportunities, apprenticeships, volunteer opportunities as well. So it's a complete career tool that's been like two years in the making now, and it launches next week, hopefully, providing the tech doesn't smash its pants again. But yeah, and it's been a lot of hard work, and we're trying to change policy, really. We want people to really think about their career, because I think it's like 52% of graduates are in non-graduate roles that they train for. That's
mad,
fucking huge amount of money, and all that student debt not being paid back because people have made, even from like GCSE level, they don't know what career they want. I mean, if you do know which career you want to be in when you're that young, then you're fortunate. But this tool will give you an idea of what you need, so then you can take the right GCSEs, then you can do the right A levels, then go, if you need a degree, get the right degree or apprenticeship. So it fits you. You can fit by design and not by default because of what your parents are telling you, or your friends or family or whatever, So we're really, really proud of it, and say it's come from all of our knowledges. So Pete was unemployed for 9 months when we left the Corps. Wealth of experience as a corporal, as a commander, and then project management experience up the yin yang, but couldn't get a fucking job. A qualification driver, but not experience, couldn't get a job. 9 months unemployed. What a fucking waste of talent. And that happens a lot in the veteran community. Kieran was, jumped on the bandwagon for the anti-piracy sort of thing in Somalia, and that doing the ship's protections. The arse fell out of that a couple of years back. He fucking ended up homeless,
Fucking hell, did he?
Yeah, ended up homeless. He split from his missus, ended up fucking sofa surfing.
Jesus.
And then my story, I lost my career through different sort of circumstances, but all the sort of facets and sort of stories together, they bind into this product that we've got now, which is fit for everybody. Anybody can use it. Everybody is entitled to and deserves equal opportunities, equal access to opportunities as well. That's what we're providing. It's free for the user, doesn't cost anything.
Sounds like that life experience that you've all got, you've brought it together pretty well under the app.
Yeah, it's mega, and it's stuff we're adding to it all the time, trying to make it better for the user. Because what we've done is we've built, Pete mainly, I give him a shout out, is that he has designed the whole thing around the user. They are the most important people, and if it doesn't benefit the user, we won't do it. There's no ads, no fucking bullshit. That you can't pay to be on the top of this, any of that crap. Yeah. It's what is important to the user, and we've got massive traction already. We won the Great British Entrepreneur of the Year Awards in NatWest last week, I think it was. Pete won CEO of the Year. Fucking plastic. You got to have a cornflake packet or something to dick. But it's just going really, really well. I mean, we're launching next week, and then see how it goes.
Yeah. Wish you all the luck with it, mate. And what I will say is, mate, don't give up the speaking, because I think you've got an incredible story to tell. And if anyone, people who do book me for a talk, if they ever want me to get you along, mate, I'd say do it, because I'm sure Tom will agree, and anyone who listens to it, mate, what you've been through is incredible. I'm proud to call you one of my best mates. And on a personal note as well, before Tom wraps it up, I just want to say thanks, mate, because you've helped me through some dark times, whether that's been on the end of the phone, over a beer, or just someone to look up to as well. Like, I really mean that, mate. I think you're a superstar, and thanks for today.
No, mate, same goes you. No, I bent your ear a few times. You have to, don't you? We lean on each other is what we do. And I appreciate the kind words. Fucking hell, you'll be upset.
Yeah, mate, thanks so much. Really nice to meet you as well. I'll go to the gym now and get a haircut. Right, thank you.